Oh, finally, this episode of Shift, the tables are finally turned. Because usually, Henry here, he's the one who is telling me what to do. He asks all the questions. He makes me go down the rabbit hole into the deep darkness of my soul, emotional parts, and all that. Because he has also been coaching me for almost 1 year. So finally, I get to ask all the questions that just, make him suffer a little bit. Like he's making me suffer with all the hip thrusts.
I'm guilty.
Yeah, but also making me the strongest ever. Because in this 1 year, I have finally become the strongest version of myself. I don't know, maybe also mentally, but definitely physically. Because thanks to him, I can now hip thrust 200 kilos. So welcome, Henry, and very nice to have you here.
Thank you so much. This is like, I think, my third podcast. And I'm really grateful for being here.
Well,
Now we have an year of deep conversations and coaching calls and many processes. And I think like culminating with the podcast.
yeah, it's almost like my last days here. So it's kind of like nice to wrap up with Barcelona chapter. Somebody who has seen like a lot of darkness in me as well.
Oh yeah. We all have darkness.
Darkness and strength and everything. And now I also get to talk about transformation with you. So this podcast is all about like shifts and transformations and making big changes, like what are some of the biggest changes in your life, in your whole life that are like immediately coming up for you now?
You outline where we're gonna speak, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, trying to check, revising my brain, right? And I had two major thoughts that came to my mind. One was my experience as a teenager, right? Everything is confusing, right? So we might have a perception of reality that it's wrong, or maybe it's confusing. And I think that was my case. I was like insecure by no means. Why? I could argue many things, but the result was like I was doing things to validate my existence from the world, right? And what I wanted is to have a little bit more attention because I was feeling like I was left off, right? I feeling a little bit of loneliness, and that created a lot of insecurities, right? And so my pursuit after that was just trying to cope with that loneliness of lack of validation, right? Always external, never internal, right? And the second one was when my father passed away in 2020, in July 2020. And that was a really hard one because it was in the middle of pandemic here in Barcelona, being alone, locked in, and that was a really dark and tough time. So I think that my two major transformation shifts were there. Of course, in between, it's almost 10 years. So there is more micro things, relationships, university times, sports. I was playing rugby at the moment and I was a little frustrated with some things. So I think like every piece of transformation comes from, at least from my experience. And I think what I could understand and experience with clients is like most of big transformations comes with a set of setbacks, like really hard times that give you a bunch of lessons that you have to start doing or just to get better at, right?
I would say that what I have noticed is transformation can come basically from two places. One is like something is super bad, then you transform to get out of this deep shit, deep hell. Or sometimes you're like, okay, I'm actually doing well, but I want to do better. And then you just go and optimize. So when you look about your teenage years, you were looking for external validation, but the transformation was that you started looking more for the internal, or what was the transformation in there?
It was early understanding of what I want to do, right? I think my first drive was, okay, I am 16 years old. And of course, I didn't know that I was insecure, of course, but I was doing things to cope with that feeling, right? So trying to be aesthetically beautiful is the first thing, I think, because everything is eyes, right? That's why we have the eyes in front of us, right? That's make a huge difference, and we are biased by what we see, right? Like we evolved to use our eyes mostly. And so, yeah, I think getting more beautiful was one of the things, right? To attract people, to being validated by someone else. If you're like the young guy in the group, maybe you have more respect, more status. So I think that was my drive at the beginning.
So this is how you got into sports.
I played rugby my whole life since like 5 years old. My father played rugby as well, and all my circle played rugby. So most of my life was tied to some kind of sport, but mostly rugby. I was cycling a lot as well, but my life was rugby until like 8 years old. Like everything was like, I want to play it and I want to play as better as possible. And also I had this wrestle with, okay, I was like a little bit insecure, but also I was like playing a really good level at my age. So it was like,
Well,
didn't make sense at the moment. Why those things? So yeah,
so you're the kind of person who has always been into sports. You have always been like this person who values sports, health, fitness, maybe, I don't know, eating well. Some people that, discover this later on in their life, but you were kind of like born into this.
I was introduced from really early age to sports, and I'm really grateful for that. I think it's one of the keys to maybe create or to get into some kind of human development, right? From early on. Now that I'm studying psychology, I understand this process way, way better. But we all have needs and motivations, right? And I think sports ticks a lot of those things, right? And it allows us to have recognition from our peers, to some kind of responsibility, the lessons of discipline, and all the invisible training that is around sports, and also that forms and creates your character, right? And rugby is a tough sport. You have to tackle, you have to
See
hit.
contact and
It's a contact sport, and it teaches you a lot of lessons. It's like you're facing fears more often than not, right? And you have to display your abilities every weekend.
yeah.
And so it creates conditions for character development and also friendships, and how to respect the people, and how to honor your rivals and honor your teammates, and all that values that I think they're really important today more than ever.
Yeah. So basically being in this one sport for many, many years and even like decades, this was like ongoing transformation all the time because you were also always building to be better, to become better version of yourself, to play better, and also building like new relationships. And you grew up doing all that.
I think it's really individualistic for each person, but if you want to play rugby and not get hurt, you have to be prepared, right? So it made sense for me to start gym. So I started the gym at 17. I am not an early gym goer, but 17, I think it was fair. Almost at the beginning of university, I was like 70 kilos. So wet. 70 kilos of well.
I can't even imagine you being like 70. It's like,
90, yes, I would like a hunger, like the guy from 7 Up, right? Like super, super thin. But it makes sense. It makes sense. And also, it was the perfect excuse to just go with some of my insecurities, right? Because it was helping me. Say, yeah, so like, I don't know, the first year I gained like 9 kilos, 10 kilos. So I go from like 70 to 82 in like a year. It was like, first year of university was like, what the fuck?
so poof,
Yeah.
finally he's eating.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that was one of the first reasons and motivations as well.
I know you are like somebody who is like, very strong. You're lifting heavy stuff. You make other people lift heavy stuff. No, it's kind of like part of your identity, this heavy lifting.
Yes, it is. It take it as, yes, it is really part of me. For me, it's like really easy to just go. It's more difficult to not go to the gym. I deeply understand the long-term gains of strength and conditioning, right? And I know that for majority of the people, that's not the case, right? Yeah.
I resonate.
It's like, if going to the gym will be, if the benefits of the gym would be a pill, I was the best selling pill in the world, right? Like, it's crazy. But yeah, it's part of my identity. It's like, it's so rooted in myself that if I don't go a couple of days, I might get a little bit unpleasing, right?
No, I know this feeling. Again, if I get a little bit itchy, it's like, what do you mean I can't go? It's like, some reason it's like,
But I have a lot of time free, right? And yeah,
yeah, I just want to go. So I can really resonate with this feeling of just wanting to go because it's part of life. It's like normal part of life. And like you said, it's harder not to go.
yeah. Imagine that your body is a car. Every now and then has to go into boxes, right? And change oil and repair some pieces and load some gas. That's us on a daily basis. We go to the gym to prevent long-term illnesses and some crazy things that can happen to us. At some age, I think it's around 35 years old, we start losing between 0.5 and 1% muscle mass and bone density per year. And that's a lot. And if you don't do anything, you start like losing. And then 10 years span like this. And then you are like 10% lost in muscle mass and you're 40. Blood is sticking. Crazy. But if you train enough time and you create a good base of muscle and strength, that almost reduces to almost zero. I would say not zero, but it reduces crazily to indifferent.
I hope so because I'm past the 35 mark. So I'm like,
I am 34, so I'm with that.
you'll get there.
Really? Yeah. But yeah, the strength training will not only serves. I think there is still vanity aura around the gym, right? And going to the gym is like just to look good, right? And I'm trying to create a change on that part of and the understanding of gym. I think it's a catalyst for so many things, from depression, from problems with anxiety, to get you away from darkest places, from dark places. But also, if you want to be healthy, it is just the, the best thing you can do to be the healthiest as possible. Like the thing.
Yeah. And also, if you're like in a very dark place, having like a gym routine or any kind of exercise routine, I would say that this is kind of giving us some kind of stability. It's giving you some kind of reason to get up on the bed, do something, do the workout, even if you're not doing anything else and everything else is like, "Ugh, I can't." So I would say this can help people a lot. And many people that I know personally, they have also said that gym actually helped them to come out this very heavy mental health. It's not only physical exercise, it's also the mind and soul and, emotions coming up.
And of course, it's like you see a meme everywhere, and you broke up with your girlfriend. It says, "Welcome to the gym," right?
And everybody's like,
Right here, and you go, "Who hurt you like this?" Yeah, and there is some kind of truth. There is some kind of truth on that. But of course, I like always to create the analogy between the Jedi warrior from Star Wars and the Sith, right? One is consumed by negative energy, darkness, and the other one is like the enlightenment, right? And the peace and the understanding of things as they are, right? And to don't be consumed by the darkness, Jedi does kind of things, right? They do things. And I think the gym is one of those activities that help you cope with those negative emotions, right? And don't get into the darkest Sith, Dark Vader style, right?
you can alchemize this negative emotion that you have. You can alchemize this into power. And I can see that you have been accepted with a cat now.
Yes, I know.
It's like a boss.
I know it's that psychology. If it's here, it's because it's comfy, right? You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
She's like, okay, you have been accepted. Yeah. So yeah, the gym really can alchemize all the bad stuff into something beautiful. And also, as a bonus, you get beautiful muscles and you will also look good.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of, like, one of the things I would like to know as a younger Henry was like, if you're focusing on the aesthetic part, just focusing on getting stronger, right? Because my focus was like, okay, I want to look like this because I was insecure, right? That was my idea, right? But if you worry as a person about those things because you want to get like better with looking, if you shift the focus and you let go that need or that external validation, because at the very end, it's an external validation thing, but you want to be prized by other people. So focus in the daily work. Like, okay, I have to go, I have to get this done. I will do my 100% as much as possible and complete that workout because this will serve that goal. And that goal shouldn't be something from an insecurity. I didn't read it anywhere, but I think that every goal tied to an insecurity is like a never-ending loop or it's a never-ending pursuit. You will always be more insecure because there is something all the time there, like in yourself, inside. And if you shift the mind a little bit to, okay, I want to be really strong, the aesthetic look will come just by as a secondary effect.
I guess it was like 1 or 2 months ago when I also told you that, okay, let's let go of this weight goal because at some point I wanted to achieve specific weight and like release some of it and lose some fat mass. But then I went, okay, actually, if I'm very much focused on the weight goal, I'm not going to get it. I was like, okay, let's forget about the weight. I don't want to track. I don't want to do this and that. I just want to train. Just give me the band and just let me train. And let's not talk about the weight for now. Because I guess my mind was also like working with so many different things. And now it's actually kind of like okay, I let go of that. I just started doing more strength training, not one, still doing the same stuff, but with a different mindset. So the routine is still the same, the plan that you give to me, but the mindset is different. So I'm approaching this from a different angle and it actually feels better. I feel that this is also kind of making me feel like ease, at peace. And I guess as a result, at some point, the weight will just melt away automatically without focusing on it. I'm focusing on the strength.
And how do you feel with motivation? We spoke about this, but how do you feel with motivation, with this mindset shift?
Yeah. I feel better. I feel less stressed because then I'm like focusing on the weight and just tracking the numbers. I get stressed and then I'm like angry with myself. And then I might even sabotage myself by eating too much because I'm also an emotional eater. So letting go of this and just focusing, okay, I'm just going to get strong. I'm just going to move the heavy stuff and focus on this. It feels so much better. I'm more motivated. And even like as a side effect, my appetite. So I'm like, oh, this is actually nice. And also, I guess, as I'm now going back to stone and to be like more in this balanced, aligned, grounded state, I will feel that it's more easy to just eat better because I'm not having to numb any kind of emotions that might have come up here because of all these people and distractions and all the noise around me. Yeah, I would say I feel quite motivated. I let go of a goal and the goal might still be happening, but without forcing it, just allowing, surrendering into the feminine energy.
Yeah, that's one of the big parts of motivation. Motivation is the common notion of motivation is like there is an emotion and that you will lose it. Yes, of course, but motivation, we need motivation. We need motivation to act on things as well, right? It's one of the psychological needs, right? We need motivation to act in the world because composed by different other areas from the internal, from the environment, from socials, from your inner self. So those three factors affect your motivation. And then it can be like intrinsic or extrinsic. But if you focus on just let go that kind of extrinsic thing and you focus on yourself, motivations, and you look for that piece of enjoyment and satisfaction, which is key for motivation, the motivation will transform over time. And you will keep rolling and rolling and rolling. And just that motivation will change into long-term discipline at a point. And then it's going to be rooted in you, like you already been training for like the last 10 years.
Yeah. I
And
would say that I wouldn't rely on motivation because motivation is like an emotion. It just comes and goes. You had ups and downs. And if you just rely on the motivation, you will never go and train. I just go to the gym because it's already part of my identity. So even if I don't want to go, I just go because I don't even have this question. Do I want to go? I'm just going. It's more like, okay, when, not if.
Yeah, at the very end, it's like it's a choice, right? It's a choice. And you have two options, doing the thing or not doing the same. And both have the same emotional charge, right? They weigh the same. But one will lead you to a better place and the other one will make you stuck. And it's like the decision at the very end is like yours. You have the full responsibility of the decision. So yes, and motivation is important. The beginning is important and it will transform the way it act with what you want to do.
So what usually motivates you to just live your life in the best way possible?
Hmm.
Is it coming from the inside?
I think it has been mutating over the years. At the beginning, I was more self-centered when I was younger. And I think it makes a little bit of sense, at least for me, because I wanted to solve problems or problems. Maybe they weren't problems, right? I'm trying to solve my problems and find who I was. Where am I? I think those are really good, valid questions. What do I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
No,
So first you get some certainty about yourself, and then you must go and interact with the...
yeah. Once I realized what I really like to do, what I was passionate about, and that I could satisfy the need, one of the big needs of like feeling part of something, right? That can be blurred sometimes because like moving from Argentina is like starting from zero, right?
There's also the summation, moving right
It's like
to another...
you're moving away, you going by yourself, start from zero, from scratch, literally from scratch. I didn't know anyone. So it's like the needs change. Also, I think maturing, the simple act of maturing helps you. Like we are less chaotic in our minds. I mean, statistically, it's like we are less crazy, let's say, with age. So we stabilize a little bit. We are not so histrionic or neurotic about life because we are not so in.
We don't react in such a, like, more, in a more balanced way.
Yeah, we're emotional. Humans stabilize emotionally when they grow up. So to find my place in the world was one of the things that really motivated me. And also I was like this passion of training people because I like to see people progress and transform and just inspire from my acts as well, right? As a role model or as someone dedicated to help people move and develop from maybe that insecure part or maybe from the need of becoming stronger and healthier through, okay, this is the best life you can get. Okay, let's do it. Let's map it out. Let's create a roadmap. Let's build it, right? It's a teamwork thing. So that's also giving me that sense of like the affiliation, tribe feeling, right? And I think it's really motivating.
And you also call all the people like projects. So I'm project Silja.
Yes, she's project.
It's kind of like, and you're like the project manager, or who are you?
I mean, I think that your life should be a project, right? Are the most important person in your life. If you are not in a good state of mind, good state of your body, good state spiritually, and also I think philosophically, and I think you're missing out of so many things, right? So I think we have like hierarchies of needs, right? We have like the physiological needs that we need to cover, like water, good air, shelter, food. Yes, and then we escalate to higher orders. When we cover the lower orders, right? So then once you find some kind of when you are covered on your basic necessities, then you can start asking yourself about safety and security.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Maslow pyramid of needs. This is the Maslow. Start with the...
In 1943, this was a psychologist, an American psychologist called Abraham Maslow. He was researching how human cover needs and what they have to do in order to progress in life and develop themselves, right? So he like created this by observation, these order or hierarchies. They say it's a pyramid, but they are overlap, right? And you can start developing other areas while other areas still in development, while lower orders still in development. But it's a really good framework if someone wants to understand how to or where to focus their efforts and starting from the lower hierarchies and start realizing, okay, maybe I have all this covered. Now I can worry about other things because it's really difficult for a person to start asking how I'm gonna transcend my ideas to the world if
Because that's
but they have a yeah, exactly. If they have maybe, for example, if they are in a war country, right, where the safety and security is really difficult.
safety is it starts with the basic needs like sleep and food and movement. Then you have like safety was kind of the second level. I think
Yes, safety and security,
then you have like was it
belonging,
like
love and belonging.
love, and then it was like praise or like good words from somebody, like validation maybe. Then you had like this, okay, what
Self-esteem,
yeah,
self-esteem and self-actualization.
yeah, what I'm putting out into the world.
Yeah, exactly. So
So if you're like, as I always like to say, if you're like steep the pride and you really need to pee, you can't really save the world because your basic needs are not met.
exactly,
Like,
exactly.
and you're only thinking about this, okay, where's the toilet? Where's the toilet? It's like you can't think straight. You can't self-actualize. You can't say the word. You can't because you're feeling so bad in yourself.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Body first.
Body first, one of the lowest hierarchies, and it's one of the most important ones. And that's why I say to my clients and everyone that asks me for advice about what to do, and they need help and they need to change things and they don't feel the best. I say, you have 3 pills that will help you to get the most out of your life, which is the sleep pill, which is sleep 8 hours in a dark room, for example, or try to clean your environment, your sleeping environment. Then best about nutrition, quality. So try to get the best quality food that you can allow yourself to have, right? And then about movement, go and do something that requires intensity. So if you don't like gym, you can do calisthenics, you can do some contact sports, but something that creates a lot of intensity because you need to exert force.
Yeah.
And I think those 3 things we give you 80% of your well-being. If you do them like consciously and you act and you get better at those 3 things, like your life would improve 10x.
And because you feel more belonging, because you feel better in your own body, your emotions are more regulated, and you are more likely to self-actualize and really give something back to the world.
Yeah, that's what I say. Those 3 things are the catalyst for many other processes that will like it will spill every aspect of your life. Like every other aspect of your life is spilled by these 3 things. And if you're not in a very good state, you're not healthy, you have no energy, and you are chronically tired, you can't do things. You can't work, you can speak with people, you can form relationships, you won't find a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or a partner. It's getting really difficult to do things. You are like depriving yourself from the good life.
You don't have energy to socially love.
Like zero, zero, zero.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's something like so overlooked. We want that supplement, that pill,
Yeah.
that magic thing, you know?
The basics.
Yeah.
Because people, yeah, whenever I'm coaching people, they often actually want some kind of magic pill, some shortcut, but actually it's everyday process. Once you get to like certain, I don't know, look or strength, you don't stop doing stuff. You build a lifestyle, not like a magic pill. With a lifestyle, you build the habits, routine, and then you just keep going with the same lifestyle. It's not like, okay, 3 months I'm gonna train, and then I achieve my bikini body, and then I will stop. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone has different needs and motivations, right? But there is a lot of research and scientific evidence that support that if you have those 3 things really well set, your life gets really way better. Then you can start like thinking about your your mind, where is it going, but those are the catalysts. Those things done properly and with full intention, that's one of the components of motivation, for example. Direction and intentionality. Direction is like all of what you want to do, what matters to you. Committed and how you are going to do that activity. So, for example, I don't know, uh, a rugby player that trains more consciously and goes all the time, and every time he goes gives his 100%, will play better than someone that goes and just check. Yeah, okay, I'm just talking all the way into the session and that's it. So intentionality is really important. The more intentional you are, more change you will experience from that activity. Like you experience it in the gym. If you go and you just go and rest. Yeah.
Sometimes you see people in the gym who are like, I'm like, what?
Doing nothing,
Just scrolling and then doing the leg extension at the same time.
Exactly.
They're not there.
Yeah, exactly.
The body is there, but the mind is like, oh, la la, Instagram, whatever.
Yeah, then we can speak about being present. That's another
Yeah, all presence. It's important.
That's another topic in how to be more mindful about what we do, but that's part of the intentionality. But that's if you're really intentional and you have a goal, the motivation is there. That's it. What's up?
She's like, yes.
Yeah, you understand, right? You understand.
She has intentions and
Yeah, sure, motivations. So yeah, I think processes will start there. So basic, and it's so easy to start. It's really easy to start.
So being present in the gym, mind and muscle connection.
That's one part. But you know that our prefrontal cortex is in charge of doing things like the motor skills and worrying. And if you're worrying, you can perform, right? So most likely go hard, you will banish anxieties from worrying things. Problems go away. If you are like training really hard, that's why the gym is really good. You just abstract yourself from your problem, right? You train really hard and your mind can only train. If you catch up yourself, listen, if you catch up yourself, that thinking about other things in the gym during the session, you are losing. Like you are leaving a lot of adaptations and a lot of progress there.
So you're getting less impact and less effect on the training.
100%. Yeah.
So if you really want to lift very heavy stuff, focus on the lift.
Yeah.
Be there and then you'll get to move harder.
Yeah, that's why I don't know. I listen this question says, what would you like to develop if you have to choose one? Only you would develop your body or you would develop your mind, right? I know my answer, 100%. I will start developing my body like straight away. If I develop my body, my mind would go along, right? Because at certain degrees of intensity, you cannot lift it with only your muscles. You just need to start using your mind as well. You have to put all your mind into process. So some kind of adaptations will be there. But with the mind, you can't train your body.
So it's like,
It's like,
who lift very heavy stuff, they are not stupid. They're actually quite intelligent in some ways. You can really put the mind into this as well. I didn't think it used to be like some kind of stereotype, okay, the gym guys, or I don't know, they're like stupid, or athletes are stupid. It used to be. But nowadays, I would say that athletes, they seem like very intelligent people because they really have to focus on themselves. They really have to have these routines and build a specific lifestyle. They also have to use the mind a lot. Otherwise, they wouldn't succeed.
the gym is just an activity, right? So there is it's wide spread and there is a lot of different people going. I think inherently people that go to the gym understand that it's better to go than not to go. That's why they keep going, right? And maybe as I had, like at the beginning, I was thinking that was only for aesthetic reason, right? And to look good. But then the reality is different, right? So there is many people going with different motivations, at the gym, they find the lifting and the gym as an activity that they have in common, right? So you can find different kind of people there, and it's really fun because you get to know a lot of people and you understand their motivations and why they do this, and it's really interesting. Yeah.
And when it comes to training and gym and all these things, how important do you think is the nutrition part? Is it more about the gym or more about the nutrition, or how do these things interact?
Well, first, nutrition is the fuel. It's your fuel. Yeah, it's our fuel. And then you can, if a person is looking, I want to outline here first something. Every person needs a different kind of configuration, right? And not everyone will tolerate the same diet. Not everyone will tolerate the same diet, right? Some people have allergies or intolerances, and depend where you're coming in the world, right? You are from Estonia, I'm from Argentina. I think in your food, you were more prone to eat fatty meats, root vegetables, right? Like potatoes, sweet potatoes.
Not sweet potato, but potatoes are a national food of Estonia.
So, so most likely some kind of nutrition that is near that configuration would be maybe better, right? You will accept it better. Now nutrition is really standardized, but nutrition is something, is all those micro and macronutrients that we use in our body use to heal, to recover, to have energy, and that's what we did. So we have like these 3 macronutrients that help in different kind of processes that must be covered all the time. Some people with nutrition decide to completely delete one macronutrient, which in my philosophy, I don't agree. The macronutrients and our body specifically is adapted to. So the 3 of them.
Very often people delete carbs.
Yes, exactly. And carbs like are a really good source of fuel. It's like it's like introducing to your car worst fuel than the one that is needed. So you have 98 and 95. Why putting 95 to a 98 car, right? So I think the quality matters and the quantity matters as well. The tendency is to overeat in the world right now. The increase of portions in fast foods and restaurants became like bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's really difficult to cope. And there is also a lot of emotional attachment to food, and there is a lot of coping mechanisms that are food driven, and food also is really addictive, like the ultra processed things.
Oh yeah.
So
They are made to be eaten
yeah, exactly.
in big amounts.
Yeah, all the ultra processed foods, they have something called, I don't remember the brand. The brand it's Ajinomoto. Was a Japanese guy that was researching on, I don't remember if he was a biologist or a chemist from Japan, that he was researching about why miso soup is so addictive, why I feel so happy when I am drinking miso soup. And he extracted from miso soup, from an algae, this compound, I think it's a glutamate. I don't remember what the name.
So there's
Check it. Ajinomoto.
okay. So there's something in miso that makes it addictive.
Yeah, it's like a crystallized salt that sparks this umami taste. And umami taste is present in a couple of different kind of foods. And that was thousands of years ago, the taste that was helping us to gather protein, right? Or good source of food, that they were really healthy. So the umami taste is really, with red meats, Parmesan cheese, algae, some mushrooms, what else? Eggs. And if all these ultra processed foods have that same compound, like that's why it's so addictive. And also there is a lot of sodium, a lot of sugar, a lot of fat, and it's a addictive combo. And it's really easy.
So you would recommend to eat as clean as possible, like whole foods, not this ultra processed stuff, but things that maybe don't have like a list of ingredients. Like avocado, you buy an avocado, it doesn't come with big list of ingredients.
No, it's just
One thing.
well, single ingredient foods would be like the best choice. It will help you to start understanding the satiety and the hunger feelings. which are the internal cues that we have to feel full and feel internal emotion that's telling you, okay, you had enough, right? Now we are hijacked by this ultra-processed food. And it's difficult to stop. Also, eating all single ingredient foods will allow you to eat more food, more quantity with less calories. So the density of the calories is important. A donut this size might equal like 100 grams of a donut. Maybe it's like this, and it's like 500 calories. And if you got to change it in potatoes, for example, or meat, it will be like a grams of potatoes or meat, and the difference is crazy.
Yeah, it makes you fuller.
And yeah, it makes you fuller, and also it's more nutritious. And nutritious? I say it again.
Nutritious.
It's nutritious. Oh my god! Thank you. I'm Argentine and I'm not native.
I'm not native either, so.
So yeah, so at the very end, it's like start changing from the ultra processed world to more single ingredient stuff, and you will realize that you're eating way more food, but you're consuming less calories.
The volume is bigger, but the calories is.
And that will help you so much to get in tune to yourself, because it's important to feel connected to yourself and to understand you. And that's really important for any other areas of your life as well, not only understanding the food. And then you will argue with me about, but if you're not eating pizza, or if you're not eating the hamburger, that's not life. I'm not eating chocolate.
You can
do choices.
You can train basically.
It's true.
To like stuff.
Yeah, you can have a really good body eating shit food. There is the McDonald's study. It was a guy eating only McDonald's, but for, I don't remember, it was like 90 days.
Okay, some specific calorie range.
Yeah, that they were equating the calories. So he had to eat in his maintenance calories or even in deficit, but only with McDonald's.
Okay.
And of course, he lost all his weight, or the weight he needed to lose. But his mood, the quality of his life, his sleep routine, his trainings became like awful. All the other aspects of his life started getting worse.
Yeah.
Getting worse. And
because you're not actually getting the nutrients like vitamins, minerals, all the micro ones.
And that's also really important. Not only about calories. Calories is the thing, because we humans don't break thermodynamics laws, right? So energy in, energy out, and you have to equate that. And if you eat a little more of your calorie maintenance, you will gain weight, and if you eat less, you will lose weight. That's the basic. It's like the basic. And
yeah, but if you had to eat like only one thing for the rest of your life, what would that be? A single ingredient.
That's so easy. I would just go with steaks until the day I die. And I would supplement it with vitamin C. But steaks, fatty steaks, I think is the only thing human beings can survive of eating. Like if you got to select only one, I think the only thing that you can survive of is like fatty meats.
Okay, so that's also like very Argentinian on
That's really there.
meat and steak. And so what's the secret?
I am biased.
What's the secret of good steak?
It's prepared or since the cattle
Everything. So enlighten us, because you had this.
Okay, my country comes from years of grass-fed tradition. And
So grass-fed.
grass-fed.
Roasted.
Yeah, so the cow has to be freely eating grass. That would be ideal. There is different breeds of cows that will have better meat because of how are genetically. So I think like we recent Argentinian that we have Hereford, Angus, and Aberdeen Angus. And I think it's the brown cows and the black cows, right? I think those are
Black and white you don't have?
the black and whites are the Orlando. So the dairy cows.
I think in Estonia I had like a lot of black and white ones.
I think it's
Also,
I don't remember the breed in Estonia. I think I won't remember.
yeah, we have black and white ones, but also the brown or red ones. Oh,
So yeah, we have the best cows in the world.
best cows in the world.
In
Argentina.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. You can't argue that. I am not allowing to argue.
Okay.
Yes, proud for meat. And there is difference. I tried Australian meat, like Wagyu. I tried Wagyu is a Japanese one, which is like it has fat in between. The Scottish one, the Irish one. I tried Spanish one, the Galician. I tried the Nebraska Angus. Right.
You are quite an expert.
I don't consider myself an expert, but I like meats. I can taste it really well. Ideally, if best part of the cow would be rear legs and around the torso, right?
A kind of like chest muscles in humans and
No. Like everything about vertebrae, the spine. So it would be
muscle area.
yeah, like the tomahawks, the ribeyes. What else? In Argentina we say bife chorizo, bife angosto, entrecot,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then yes,
You really know your meat.
I know my cuts. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, uh,
Have you ever seen like a cow being killed as well? Like,
no.
well, no. Because I think in Estonia, I also I haven't seen that, but some children have also like grown up. It's like, grandmother has a cow or pig, and then you see also everything.
That happens. It's normal in our history as a humankind. We deal with these things, right? We evolved eating meat, and we evolved thanks to meat.
Oh, it's
So protein is a big aspect of human evolution,
yeah.
and it's there.
Mhm.
Fair.
So let's say you get your perfect cut of steak. What do you do with this after this?
So I have two options for steaks. A really hot pan. It has to be an iron cast pan.
Iron cast, okay.
It has to be iron cast. Ideal. It has no phytochemicals, has no the black cover. I don't know how the Teflon. We iron cast and or barbecue. So that's the two variations. Asado, steak at home on the daily basis, iron cast. So get your pan really hot, drop water on it, and it has there is an effect. I don't know. I don't remember this chemical effect on the surface of the iron cast. So it creates a layer of it evaporates water. So it's air between the bubble of water. So the drop of water become up a little ball, and it's rolling on the pan. So you can move it like freely. So that's the point where the iron cast is ready to cook. Yeah, so then you put the steak and with only salt and pepper. You don't add anything else.
Because it already has very good.
Anything else. The salt, with the salt, you can do two things. Or you put the salt and then you put it on the pan automatically, or you put some salt on top and then you let it there for 1 or 2 hours. So it soak up the fluids from the steak to the surface, and that's
So very basic.
basic zero motion towards food.
Yeah.
Zero motion towards food.
Yeah.
That's my approach. That's what works for me. But as an advice, it's like finding the way you can adhere long term to the same kind of nutritional strategy, right? And that's the key. That's one of the keys. If you cannot adhere long term to a simple nutrition program, you need to find a way, because otherwise you're going to jump from diet to diet and you will be all over the place. Not you, in general, people.
Yeah. So how to make it easy for yourself?
It has to be easy. Statistically, we eat no more than 10 food variations per week, right? So one piece of advice I would give, and I give, is try to identify which are those 10 meals, and then fix them in a way that becomes, or that they are better quality, right? Like they start being better on the quality. And that will allow you to drop a little bit of the calories and also to get rid of these super tasty foods, right? Super tasty foods are a problem as well. So try to fix those 10 and then slight variations of it. and then make your days exactly the same, right? So you don't have to think, you know what you have to buy, and you save a lot of time. You save a lot of time.
You don't make a decision every time. You already know because you already had developed some kind of system for yourself, some kind of menu. It's like, okay,
It's automatic.
yeah, there's no decision fee. You're
It's
not
not.
deciding anymore. You decided once, it's like done.
Yeah, so once you fix your physiological and basic needs, now you go to the second layer of Maslow hierarchy, right?
Safety.
It's like safety and security. So systems will bring a lot of safety and security because you know already what you have to do.
Yeah.
So picking up the same food every week, that's great. And if you want to indulge with a kind of pizza or ice cream, you just make up, you prepare that day. Okay, today I'm not gonna eat this because at night I'm gonna eat just that.
Yeah.
So maybe you subtract a meal and then you enjoy yourself with an ice cream at night.
So it's balance.
It's like the balance.
I had developed my own ice cream recipe that is like egg white, milk, and protein powders.
Fucking amazing. Really good.
Creamy. That's the ice cream maker machine.
That's very good. That's really good.
So it's kind of egg white is pure protein. Then with a bit of milk, this gives like this creaminess. Otherwise, it's still eggy, maybe a little bit. And then protein. Like, whew,
Yeah, so
3 ingredients.
so at least you have that component. It's really important. Protein is really important. Majority of the people will benefit on eating more protein.
Because most people eat too less.
Yeah, too little. So that could be like Greek yogurts, more eggs, cheese, hard cheese, or more meat, red meat if possible, some curated hams. Be careful with the curated hams. With the additives.
Yeah.
With the additives.
So have you also encountered somebody who's like a vegan vegetarian among your clients? What do you tell them?
No, I have
You don't attract that kind of people.
no, no. If you want to be vegan, perfect. You can be vegan, but be sure that your nutrition is well balanced and supplemented, because I am aware that some more vegan than vegetarian diets, they lack some vitamin B and also some magnesium, also iron as well. So I had a client that she was vegan and she was doing fantastic. She was training really hard. She progressed a lot. And she was vegan, and it's okay. There is plenty of cases of successful people being vegan, elite athletes being vegan. So yeah, it's if you balance the diet and you do everything at your reach to eat properly and with good quality, it's a really good diet.
Yeah. No, but it's not for everyone. As also keto is not for everyone. Carnivore is not for everyone. But I also feel that there is like one diet that is the best one for you, the most optimal, and it's your own responsibility to experiment and find this one.
Yeah.
Rebuild a life with it.
Yeah, you say it well. You say it well. I like that. I like that. The autonomy is important. I can explain you 1,000 of things, but if you don't like it,
Yeah. So what's usually in your supermarket basket, all the whole foods? What do you put in there on a weekly basis?
okay, no, it's really easy. So butcher meat. So usually per week, I will just buy between 3 kilos of meat around, eggs, hard cheese, aged cheese with raw milk, aged cheese, mostly Greek yogurt, plenty of veggies, tomatoes, lettuce, onions, carrots. Carrots super important. I like them. Zucchinis, mushrooms, peppers, and then I can go fruits and steak nonstop forever.
So for you, the sweet things that you like fruit.
Yes, and here in Barcelona we have such an amazing food options. Now summer coming, blueberries, strawberries, papaya, mango, watermelon, apples, everything. Bro, take dates as well.
Yeah.
I select dates, orange juice, like
Definitely.
fresh one. Just take it from the machine. What else? Coconut oil, Greek yogurt, some
Grilled cheese.
grilled cheese, exactly.
Yeah, it's nice.
halloumi, something called kurnt.
Oh yeah, I know it very well. And so going back to Estonia, we'll have like
How do you call kurnt in Estonian?
kohupiim.
Kohbean, right?
Piim is like milk and kohu is, I don't know, that doesn't have a meaning.
It was like similar to ricotta or...
Yeah. And in Estonia, we have so many different variations.
Yeah, I know.
And also the small things like kohuke. So this like this skirt, this shirt that you have like maybe jam in the middle that you have
Oh, yeah,
this.
good jam is switch.
And they're like,
It's dangerous.
they this. But if you have to choose between this and like a Snickers, of course, kohuke.
Difficult.
It's because it has some kind of protein in there.
Yeah.
It also has the sugar, but it's a little bit better choice than like a Snickers, for example.
Yeah, there is a product from Eastern Europe that
This is free of your sugar.
So now it's got sugar, but it was like
We also said, okay, you get like blood, iron,
plus blood.
like, but it's super sweet.
It's super sweet, yes. But once per month, I do one of those.
So you have
Yes,
guilty pleasures as well.
Oh, yes.
So not again.
I have.
Okay, that's
Of course, I'm Argentinian. I eat some alfajores, but it's like a little cake. It's a cake with dulce de leche. Dulce de leche is
condensed milk.
it's like it has a cooked process. One more process,
So
right?
very sweet milk.
Yes, I would be translated as sweet milk.
Yeah.
Very thick,
Yeah.
like Nutella but made from milk and covered in chocolate, right?
Mm.
That's alfajor, and it's every other month.
Super sweet.
Every other month, I take an alfajor
Yeah.
around the corner. But also to be able to get that one, I do everything that I have to do over the month, right? And one drop of oil in a glass of water, you won't notice, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
But if you do every day, you just put a drop of oil in water, then you will
So it's kind of like
soon realize.
special treat as well. Men of like a reward. Not every month even, and yeah, you don't just do anything.
The body, to increase 1 kilo of body weight, needs to introduce 7,000 calories. So
Yeah, that's a lot.
that's not the problem of majority of the people. Majority of the people eat certain things over years,
Mhm.
and then in a span of 10 years, they realize they have 12 kilos extra.
Yeah.
And it's so subtle that they don't understand how.
And then they want to lose it in 3 months.
Yeah, and the process to get rid of those 10 kilos usually is also 10 years. Because if you're not conscious, right? And if you want to do it by yourself. But then I was telling you about the groceries. And then a lot of sweet potatoes and potatoes. That's my base of hydrates.
Instead of grains, you have potatoes and sweet potatoes.
Yeah, and basmati rice as well. So what I would do is I have a list of 5 kind of proteins, 5 kind of fats, and 5 kinds of carbohydrates. And then I try to just do them all the time.
Rotate.
That's the 5-5-5 method, right? I call it like 5-5-5 method. So to create a dish, you select 1 protein, 1 fat, and 1 carb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a dish. That's it. Easy.
Yeah, 3 ingredients.
3 ingredients.
Yeah, so many.
And then fruits, on the side. Some fruits are more caloric than other. And if you eat a lot of fruit, you will have to take in consideration the carbohydrate from the fruits. But if you don't eat carbohydrates per se because you are against carbohydrates, I rather tell you to go into a lot of fruits. And they have a lot of water, they hydrate, and also they have a lot of vitamins. That's really useful. So if you do food bowls every day, a lot of meat and steaks, that would be a really good way to start like changing. And also because steaks are really delicious on taste, and they will help you to get rid of shitty food, right?
Yeah, cravings.
The cravings are, there is strategies for cravings as well. In some people, with my nutritionist, we strategically place some kind of, this is not an advice, zero Coke, right? To kill some cravings. The evidence around no sugary beverages on gut microbiome disruption, like, it's not strong. So it's pretty safe. And also we help people to lose a lot of body weight.
Yeah, and
Like to fat.
also in the fitness world, like bodybuilding, I don't No. When I was in there, it was
How is in bodybuilding when you go lean?
basic. Everybody bring all these sugar-free drinks and the calorie-free sauces that are like full of the list of ingredients is like this. Or the calorie-free sauces. They don't have calories, but you have a lot of like fillers and flavors and whatever stuff. And also the flavor drops for the sweets. So basically, you're eating 0 calories.
But super,
It's like
super tasty as well.
super tasty.
Oh, that's difficult.
Yeah, it made me addicted to some kind of. At some point, though, I had like maybe 10 different flavors of flavor drops. I was putting them like, and when I wanted, okay, I want something sweet, but I don't have many calories left. So it's just egg white and flavor drops. So I was making myself sweet bread, or egg white and flakes. Okay, maca flavored, or like tiramisu or whatever, caramel and egg white. So it's just eating egg white with flavor. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, when my father passed away and I was so anxious, I didn't know what to do. I was feeling hungry all the time. I wanted to eat all the time. So my ally there was 0 Coke.
Wow.
I was like I was like drinking like 1 can per day because I was like having this craving of I want to eat sweet and I want to eat a lot of food that I remain in my body shape like really well. And of course, you have to bring awareness to what you are feeling at the moment. Awareness kills unconscious behavior. Yeah, awareness.
Automatic.
Awareness kills automatic behavior. You are bringing your brain power to the prefrontal cortex, awareness, decision making. And that's 1 second of silence, deep breath. Why I'm feeling like this? Okay, what is the thing I can do right now to don't worsen this feeling, this emotion? So awareness is very good. And if you feel like cravings are ramping up and you're all the time like feeling hungry, and you find yourself binge eating so more often, just try to create more awareness, bring thoughts into what you are doing and your actions. That's a really big piece of advice. And then trying to replace some kind of false. I was doing 0 Coke because it was helping me to just like having that bypass that feeling. It was a feeling. It's like the feeling of I was feeling super lonely and I was super upset, super sad, in sorrow, I would say like maybe depressed as well. I didn't know at the moment, but I was really depressed, and it helped me. It helped me to bypass that feeling. And okay, maybe it was momentary, but maybe you're in a similar situation or you are in a moment where food, you understand that food is your coping mechanism, and there is ways to bypass those emotions. And it's allowing you first to understand that it will happen. And if there is something hard that's happening you in your life, that's a good way to do it. It's like trying to bring some kind of awareness to that moment. It's really powerful. Bring back it gives you more power and more
I go back to
control. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. This kind of like stopping yourself for a moment and really, okay, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
And then just choose wisely based on your goals, based on the place where you want to go, not like based on this emotion that you have in this moment.
Yes. And also, emotions are there to tell you something, right? Emotions were the mechanism of our body for many thousands of years, where it was using to, and is still using, to understand our environment, right? I don't know, the predators, hunger, I need to eat, I need to survive, I need to mate, those things. Now everything is emotional, right? Marketing, food, relationships. So it's not only a really good tool just to bypass or to understand yourself, to stop craving, but also to understand yourself. Just accepting that, yeah, you will feel like this. In my case, I was feeling like super in sorrow, right? And I was trying to grieve the death of my father, and yeah, it helped me. It helps. It helps. There is many things that we can do to understand ourselves emotionally. Meditation is one, but just as a basic rule, is just allowing yourself to feel that emotion and to just create some kind of pause, right? To pause, to stop the machine a little bit and create silence and say, and asking yourself those questions. Why am I feeling like this?
Yeah, process through this and then allow the emotion to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The emotion will be there. You like it or not, we can't control the feeling, right? The emotion will be there. But what you do with the emotion is the reaction to your emotional state is what will determine who at the end you are, right? That gives you a lot of power.
So coming back to meditation, what kind of meditation do you do? I guess you're doing something, as you already mentioned it, because there are so many ways how to meditate.
I'm not an expert meditator, but I do when I feel like I am too emotional and my emotions are like all over the place and I feel like not connected. And I do something called non-sleep deep rest protocol. The duration will be NSDR, and it helps to usually it's 10 minutes, and you can do it in different ways. The ones I like to do the most is like the spotlight meditation, right? You close your eyes, you deep breath, you control your breath. The breathing patterns, breath also helps you to self-regulate. Yes, your vagus nerve that goes over here and helps your nervous system to chill, right? And your sensory system to relax and to reset. And I think that's important. But for me, my kind of meditation is a little bit more active. I like to just go for a go for a walk, go for a walk, or just stand still and look at the wall, and just stay relaxed.
Just look at the wall.
Yeah, look at the wall, a fixed point, a fixed point. Meditation is good to understand your inner self and to create more inner peace, right? I think everyone wants to be peaceful at the very end.
Yeah. Okay, just a few words about the drinks. Tell me about mate.
Tell you about mate. I think mate is a magic potion that when you drink it, you become super powerful. Yeah? Jokes aside. That was for the ones not believing mate is the best thing. Many of my non-Argentinian friends are drinking mate. I see it everywhere now, and it's like, thank you.
You have been inspiring people with your example.
I don't know if myself, but I think here in Barcelona, it's widespread. You see mate everywhere. You can go to a park and there's people drinking mate. I think because there is a lot of Argentinian people in Barcelona, and also because it's a way to drink water with a little bit of flavor. For us, Argentinian people, it's really cultural, tied to the culture. And we use it to socially, right? So mate is like, I don't have a mate here. I could just. Okay. So mate, notion is like a pumpkin cup covered with leather and with a metal straw. Yeah, and mate also is the herb. In the northeast part of Argentina, there is two provinces where most of the yerba mate comes from. Also, it's regional. So south of Brazil, Paraguay, Argentina, and Uruguay also drink mate. They have like different ways of processing the herb and also to drink it. Some more on the north of Argentina, northeast of Argentina and Paraguay, they drink it like with juice. And the rest of us, mere mortals, we drink it with hot water. Usually between 85 and 90 degrees.
Okay.
Right?
So usually they had this small pumpkin that's full of this herb, and it had the big water bottle. It's like 1 liter of and then you keep topping up.
Yeah, we're topping up and we share it. So I drink, then you would go, and then the other person. And we use it socially. And if we are like not doing nothing and we are at home, hey, I can go, do you want to drink mate? Now we just gather to drink mate. Or we're making asado, we drink mate, right? Or we're just doing nothing and we drink mate. So for me, my morning is I wake up, I drink water, and then I prepare mate for me, right? And Yeah, then it's really cultural, right? And also the good thing about mate, it has like a little bit of antioxidants, right? And also has a compound that is similar to caffeine, but instead of having the peak of caffeine and the dopamine release, it's more subtle and it goes longer. So also it's like more energized. So a lot of people use for work in office, for example. So you are drinking mate while you are working or while you are studying, and it's a really good compound to have, and it's a really good companion.
Yeah.
And also has a little, I don't know if there is much scientific evidence or is being vastly researched this, but I think mate also has a compound that helps with suppressing appetite.
Mm. Because it has a little bit of this bitter taste.
I don't know if the bitterness, it's really bitter. People that's not used to drink mate will like despise it, right? It's really bitter. But I'm trying to understand now if this hunger suppressant feeling, is it because of a compound inside of mate or it's because you are drinking water all the time and you are tricking your brain into unfull?
Yeah.
So maybe it's both.
You have some activity, you always like,
And they're doing something, right? And I don't know, maybe I will incline myself a little bit more on you are drinking water all the time and you're doing something. So usually people that have problems with body weight and with obesity, they're all the time coping with food. So if you are drinking mate, you are busy doing something. You know, when you start getting bored is when you cope with the food, right? So I think it would be something like that. Yeah. So yeah, we drink a lot of mate. I think like maybe a liter between 1 kilo and 1.5 kilos.
mm,
So that's everyday mate. And sometimes 2 times per day.
wow.
And we take mate to the rugby club, we take mate to the beach, we go on a hike and we take the mate. I go to Bali and I take the mate, you know. Okay. Everywhere I'm going, I'm taking it with me. It's like the little cup, the pack of air, and the bottle, thermic bottle, right? It's a Stanley
Standard kit.
standard kit.
Yes. Like some with a steak and a mate.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so going to your work a little bit, so what kind of people do you work with? I guess you call yourself like a high performance coach, right? So you work with people who want like really high level kind of transformations and changes in their lives.
I would separate this in what I like the most and with who I work the most with, right?
Okay.
If you ask me what I like to do the most, I like full development of a person, right? From the very basic necessities, what we can, which is the kind of roadmap we can create for you to become that version of yourself that you're training, right? And doesn't matter in which stage of life you are, there is always room for change, right? It would be on the basic needs or it could be on the psychological side. And I'm doing a master's degree in psychology, so I am kind of understanding all of the processes behind human interaction and human development and the needs and the motivations and the self. So I am in that process. I have to start preparing my thesis in August and I don't know what I'm going to do. So most likely it's going to be something related to
You can have a case study with on your clients even.
I am thinking about why the gym is so good for the mindset development. So I'm going into that direction.
Yes.
I am a meat in my depth, so I am a gym meathead.
This is more like mental people.
I'm still being a gym rat and at times,
Yeah.
you know. So yes, all development of a person for me is really interesting. Is I'm so curious about what I was so curious about why some people stick to what they say and some people don't.
Yeah.
Why? How the person is driven by the environment or the situation, the internal emotions. So that for me was really curious. And the more I was coaching people and having clients on the strength and conditioning side, I was just getting into this. So I also did coaching certification, and now with psychology, it's like, oh yeah, now I get it. Now I get it why. And it's fascinating. Most of my clients are between 34 and 40 years old. And it's people that is really well developed on the the mindset. They are really highly intellectual, a lot of engineers in the list, and well-placed high achievers. I also been coaching for the last almost 17 months, a CEO from a big corporation, like multinational big corporation, and also a CLO from another big corporation, which when I started working with them, I say, what do I have to teach to these people? How am I? That was spoke the self-doubt on me, right? So what do I have to teach to them? And well, me coming from Sena Conditioning and with my team of when the nutritionists, the psychologists I have, and the doctors, I'm teaming up that we are analyzing every case specifically. That's the profile I enjoy the most, right? People need to start taking care of their life because they understood that their life is the most important aspect for them. And because if they don't take care of it in 10 years, the situation is going to be different. And it's not going to be better, it's going to be worse. So, also, there is a component of self confidence that is they are self conscious. And some part of that self consciousness brings some kind of doubt because they are aware that they are not doing some kind of thing. And if they don't change it, it's going to be worse. So that's where I'm coming from. And so a lot of people that comes to me, they are lacking knowledge and structure and organization around their schedule. So they don't prioritize the basic things that make that will change their life, which we spoke earlier about the nutrition, the sleep, and the exercise. That deeply when you are listen, and when you are so busy working 10 hours in your business, or when you have a family and you have your kids around, it's really difficult to prioritize yourself. So we create strategies around food, around time scheduling, about when to train, and okay,
She doesn't like
am I food? Am I food? And
muscle and meat.
and create those kind of strategies that suits them, and also to understand the basic motivations that drives them to that point of change, what they want to do. Every person and every one of my clients have different motivations and needs, and analyzing and trying to understand the deep necessities is it's a key fundamental aspect for me. Which are the intrinsic motivations, and what are those extrinsic motivations as well? Drive them to change, right? We will suffer from the both. Maybe a person has the drive, but has zero extrinsic motivation. And that sometimes is easier because they know what they have to do and they just do it. But some people lack the inner drive, but they know there is extrinsic motivations to do it. And they see it in themselves. I am not physically well. I am not nurturing my body really well. I am drained all day. I don't have energy. I am midday. I am lacking energy. I'm getting asleep at the midday. I need to drink coffee all the time to hypercaffeinate myself and go throughout my day. I am not conscious of the things that I am doing, and they feel like they have no power over their life. So that's when I'm coming to place. And we create a strategy based on that specific needs. And everyone will have different, but
Give them the power back.
yeah, it's like giving the power back to them that will help them to attain the goal that they want.
Yeah. So actually, maybe these people, if they are already like doing something in their lives, like a business, they're already kind of high achievers, but they have been focusing on one part of their life and just maybe neglected the body and themselves.
It's really often that someone that is really well developed on the business side and their intellectual aspect, the body is neglected. Not everyone, but most likely will happen. More in the age gap of 34, in between the 30s and the 40s, is when people start having like the declining of their health. They start feeling worse and worse and worse, and they get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we start feeling worse in the 30s, 40s. And for some reason, they just decide at some point that, okay, I actually want to work on myself. I want to feel better.
Yeah, they understood that there is something that is missing. And that missing part is themselves. They've been overlooking themselves for so long to just create something, maybe externally. I need to have this. If I am not having my business, I am no one. If I don't have these things, I won't be happy. And then in that process of achieving the higher purpose of that goal of materialistic goal or business or intellectual goal, they forget about themselves. They forgot about the most important aspect of their life, which is their mind, their body, and thinking that they are important.
And you can help with all this.
I do that.
Yeah.
I really like seeing people transform through this journey of self-exploration and transformation. I think it's really powerful. Really powerful. And like when I'm speaking with them and I am asking how this experience is going in the meantime, it's really reconforting to see the real messages, empowering messages. Oh, I have a message last week, Henry, like from nowhere, he told me this, and I'm really grateful that he opened up with this. Last time, I have never wear a white t-shirt in my life because I was insecure about it. And today to work I went to work with a white t-shirt, and I was proud of it. And it's such a small thing, but has such an emotional weight. And sometimes that simple thing weighs more than what you did your whole life. And feeling that liberation from that little thing
Wow.
it's really powerful.
So for you, it's also important to get like some feedback from people that, yeah, it's working.
The feedback is really important. The feedback is really important because there is not one size fits all. And in social media, it's really widespread that you have to do this to achieve that. And I think it's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah.
There is some strategies that you can employ, but the analysis is really important in the mind, the psychology of the person is important. And factual statements that are constructive, like it's becoming really normal to widespread messages or you like this because of that. Yes, interesting. Why?
You learned doing this because of this.
Exactly, like the factual statement, but they are not true. They are parts truth.
There's no flexibility.
There is no flexibility. There is no understanding about the psychology of the person and the needs. And yeah, so trying to be as real as possible with the work that I'm doing.
So is it only like team training, or do you also offer some other kind of exercise routines? It's mostly focused on strength, right?
What I like the most is strength training. I believe that strength training will drive a lot of changes on the mind, on the mindset. But if you don't like to go to the gym, we can adapt anything. There is many things that you can do as a human to exercise and to create some kind of adaptations for you to have a better body, a better vessel for that mind that you have in the soul. So yeah, I program like different things. Most likely strength and conditioning can be CrossFit notes, it can be a gym. But if you are not in line with that, I would program something else.
So you have many
I managed to study strength and conditioning more of the years. I can adapt programs to different circumstances. I'm more special than my body. Marathon runner comes to I'm not going to be the best option to program.
send the world around to me. Look, it's something. I'm just gonna one of the few ones. Still ridicule. Or first like well and not most. So we are building. So it's for me it's also interesting to see how he's building.
That is a hard achievement.
Yeah,
Yes.
20 times.
20 marathons.
I finished 20 and not the 20. So I did finish all of them.
Is it normal to not finish a marathon if you're a first marathon?
First one I finished, I stopped finishing marathons and also maybe it was like 30 degrees in Riga, Latvia. Krakow was it was super hot weather, so I quit because I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get like a good time and I'm just gonna exhaust myself, and I was doing a very competitive. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna step away. I won't have the time I wanted, and if I step away now, after 27 kilometers, I have more time to recover for the next one. And also, once I was like sick, actually, so I was not feeling very well. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna step away. So there are like different reasons. First one's I think it's no, and it wasn't so important for me to have a good result of
Hey, you wanted to
just finish. But I started quitting when I was more like the result.
Okay, like with frustration, with
So me, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna quit now and do another one in 3 weeks, maybe, or in 1 month.
those. That's so hard. Elite performance is another layer. No, it's another layer.
Yeah, you have different reasons why you quit. So yeah.
Yeah, well, here. Mostly.
But yeah, I once so had fever one day before. Fine. And now felt okay. My body actually found it to 25 kilos. I think it's not good for me to do it.
Wait, fish. When was the last time you did a marathon?
2020?
2012.
21? No, 2020. Because 2021 I was already a bodybuilding stage. 2020 it was the last one I basically was outside, pandemic year. So the freestyle running marathon didn't happen, but they only did the national championship. So it was like 7 kilometer loop. And it had to do it like 6 times.
Oh, like that's so.
It was super boring. It was super like, and also by the sea, so there's also like wind against you on one side.
I have a question for you. How do you feel that your mindset from marathon to bodybuilding and to strength training that we are doing right now translated?
I would say as me the bodybuilding because I wanted to do something harder. I wanted to have a new challenge after 10 years of the 10Ks and all that. I was like, okay, I want to innovate. So I just going to do something harder with this bodybuilding and that has like many more layers. Because in the running, very often, runners eat just everything, kind of. Although it's more wise to have also a good diet. But in bodybuilding, you have to watch your diet more carefully. So it's more strict. So I wanted to grow as a person. I wanted to have new challenge. So I just picked hard sports. And then, yeah, and now then we got into strength training. I'm less focused on the physical appearance and then more focused on function, the strength, so can lift. And yeah, I think it's evolving into something new altogether. The mindset.
The mindset is such a cause, right? With strength training, like it's in your darkest thoughts sometimes. That's what I think is free.
As I said,
That's what I think is really powerful.
we always doing like marathon training and just running maybe sometimes even like 2.5 hour, 3 hour runs as training. So this is like the very important training marathon, very long runs. And then I was, you go without music, without anything, and then just it cleanses the thoughts. It's like station. And afterwards you're gonna be so tired. But it's also like some kind of peace. So I could also go into very dark places. And also every time when I'm back to track, you die a couple of times, then you're like reborn again. So it's also rebirth and rising again in some ways. So yeah, marathon also got me into dark places. And also cleansed. It also helped me get out of that.
Like a phoenix.
Yeah, you run against the wall at some point and then you run through the wall or maybe you run with the wall and then actually I'm fine yet.
It's 42 kilometers. Like. So for the ones that don't run, congratulations. It's really hard. Mentally, it's really hard.
So you start to warm. So my first day was like 16. Then I was okay. Let's try 21. Taller than 1 year later. But she just built from there. Yeah. And fun went okay. I have like maybe then my 30. Now I want to be fast. Okay, let's train in a different way. Let's actually start training and running more and training speed. There's always a layers and feeling building up like a muscle.
Yeah, of course. You need to build that capacity from the point of like we used to do it, right? And we use block periodization to divide the training. So you accumulate another cohesion, then you create more intensity, and then you just full speed. That's pretty fun. That's really
And I always love having these different seasons in my demand that it's, they're good. October ends, it's like, okay, now it's like a little bit of off season, maybe for a few weeks. So something else, kind of chill, rest, and then start busy again for the next spring. That's always like, it's a process.
That's really good. And regarding the nutrition, how were you?
How many reading?
How were you eating on the marathon phase and on the wall?
More carbs. In my place definitely. I'm more focused on the protein when I went to the bodybuilding. Because, and of course, as an I got trained the body to use had those few more as well. And one day before the marathon, it's like macaroni, like pizza, pasta, doing, a lot of and especially on the last day for marathon, you forget about the fiber and you only eat, white bread and no whole grain. Maybe throughout the season, they're eating more like whole grain, but one day before the race, it's more like white. Just load up. Yeah.
Glycogen stores.
Yeah. But I guess you can also do it in a more conscious way, more cold foods. With also cold candy and chocolate and
Oh, they don't use right? They have anti-gummy.
yeah, I used to have it instead of the gel. I used to have like gummy candies in my pocket during the race at some point. But now I'm like, okay, this is not real food actually. So I like the body when cold a little bit more. It feels cleaner. It feels better on the body. And also like body shape more in bodybuilding. Because runners they're just like very lean usually.
Yeah, so yeah, body adapts. Body adapts to the thing that you're doing, right? The philosophy of the three sports practical completely different. You have to just set yourself up for different kind of achievements. And you have to just take your journey into that direction. And everything outside of that becomes irrelevant. That's one of the things that for me, it's key for me to understand when someone is, okay, you want to do to achieve this. What are you capable of doing? And then are you going to pay attention to this only, or are you going to still going all over the place? Are you going to focus on the goal, or are you going to pay attention to all the things that are on the side of it? So it's knowing. I like this. The hero knows what the struggle is, and they just grow
And slave.
and slay the driver. They don't care about the squirrels on the side of the road and if the trees are short or tall. They just know the path and they know the driver is there. They slay it.
Okay, so someone wants to slay a tracker. When can they find you to help?
Where can they find me?
Yeah.
My Instagram at Henry Bidal with B of Barcelona. I'm gonna post.
I'm gonna put I saw links in description.
Yes. And I have all my links there. LinkedIn. So those are the two services.
So if someone wants to slay a dragon, he can prepare for the battle.
I am here for that.
Yes. Okay, amazing.
Amazing.